What'd you think of this?
This movie?
Yeah.
I loved it.
I did too.
The one thing I did not expect, and I remember just telling you right after, I was like, oh, there's 3 different stories in one movie.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was just one story. It was like how every single movie usually is. And I remember when the first part ended and the credits started showing, and I was like, wait a minute, what just happened?
This is the fastest 3-hour movie I've ever seen. I was like, do I love it? Is
this the best movie ever? Because it just ended so quickly.
I don't know. Okay, so fully like preface.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much of this movie.
Yeah.
I don't even just mean in terms of its runtime. I mean there's a lot happening here. That do I know what this is fully about? Sort of, but it's about so much.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I want to ask you.
Yes.
Because this is going to be hard to fully parse
mm-hmm.
since there's so much of it. What was your favorite one of the 3?
Out of all 3, I would probably... I'm stuck between out of the first one or the third one.
Okay.
One of those...
You know how I told you we were going home and you're like, I don't want to know which one your favorite one is?
Yeah.
And I was like, I have a feeling that you and I literally think the same thing, because when do we not think the same thing?
Yeah, happens.
I also
yeah.
happen to be torn between the first and the third one
right?
being my favorite, but I am leaning towards the first specifically because I think Jesse Plemons
mm-hmm.
is incredible in this movie.
I just love the first. I love the first one a lot.
Yeah.
Because I just love how he just changes his character,
his demeanor,
like everything about it. It happens. I can't. And I love how Willem Dafoe is portrayed in the first one more so than the other 2.
I definitely think his first and his third mm-hmm. have similarities.
Yes.
But he's definitely the closest mm-hmm. to being a lead in the first one.
Yeah, and I love Jesse Plemons' like wife as well.
Oh, Hong Chow.
Yeah, Hong Chow. Like just her like dealing with the fact of like him being his wife and everything, and like the abortions and miscarriages and all that.
Yeah,
like that was so beautiful to see. Mm-hmm. Not that.
No, I mean,
but like,
are you talking about like the acting?
The acting of just her. I don't know why it just like stood out to me. I was like, why? Like it just felt so genuine and real. Mm. And man, I don't know. I love the first part a lot.
I'm gonna say that I have one singular flaw with this movie, and it comes from her character. I just don't know what happened to her at like the end of that.
Yeah.
And I kind of wish they would have, because they explained everything else. That I think you're just left to assume that he gets everything back at the end of the first one.
I would say, I mean, I think they made it clear too when Willem Dafoe's character in the first part, he is in a sense like controlling Jesse Plemons'
in
character.
Like every sense, yeah.
And so then of course I would assume that he just took her away. And I'm pretty sure she was like in cahoots of it too.
I'm sorry.
Look at me when you laugh at me.
Keep going.
No, I can't. I can't.
Keep going.
No, I can't. I can't.
All right, fine. When she was in cahoots with
I hate you.
You just sound like an elderly old man. You're like...
I do like to sleep at like 8 p.m. or 9 p.m.
I mean, I go to bed at like 9.
Yeah.
But that sounds like a Scooby-Doo villain thing. You're like, they were in cahoots with the groundskeeper the entire time.
It just seemed that way. But I don't know. I'm torn because then I also love Emma Stone's character in the third one.
Yeah, no.
I
fully agree.
So then I'm just like, but she had very little to do in the first part though,
because she's not really, I mean, she's there to sort of get Jesse Plemons' character back into that world, because he does end up doing everything that Willem Dafoe wants him to do. Because if you were to say, do you think that all 3 of these are about the same thing, or do you think that they're all about separate things?
Dang, I would probably say they're all, I think there's one theme that happened in all 3, like one big one, but of course they all have one like something different about them, but I think one theme.
This is not to say that the second one's not amazing. I love the second one. I think the second story's really, really great. That's the one where I'm like, what happens at the end of that one? Like, do you think that...
Okay, see, and I was thinking the same thing, because at the very end, right? Whenever she's cuts out that liver and everything,
yeah.
and she's just there dying. But also Jesse Plemons' character, I honestly, even now, I'm like, I don't know whether or not he's actually like gone crazy,
yeah,
or he's like being real and truthful, and if he was just imagining his real wife.
Yeah. Well, this is also that surrealism, because then she says that she was stranded on an island where dogs took over everything.
Yes.
And then they have that montage at the end of all the dogs living their lives, which I loved. I thought that was a really funny visual gag. I mean, don't get me wrong. If you told me you hated this, that's fine. I get it. I totally understand. This is not a movie I'd even recommend to everyone. I would say watch it for the experience of having seen
1 hour of it. Stop.
And then, go to the next story.
Yeah, basically.
I mean, I know some people didn't love this movie, but some people also didn't love Beau is Afraid. But Saltburn, there's one of these every year right now where it's like the weird one of the year. Or I guess there were two last year. But
what was it?
Oh, Saltburn. And some people said that that's like fake weird, but I mean, I still think
it was still weird, but
I think you can categorize that with...
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just I guess in Saltburn, Barry Keoghan's character just doing a lot of weird acts.
Yeah.
But I think Beau is Afraid.
That's a weird
movie.
One's
a weird
That's like an
movie.
actually weird movie.
Because it wasn't just like character based. It was just like visually like what you're looking at and just like how the story progressed. That was weird.
And I think that's a 5-star movie. Not everybody thinks that. And I love it a lot. It has a lot of strange imagery that I don't want to spoil if you haven't seen it, because it did bomb, but I do highly recommend it. But I do want to say that I think the theme of this goes into the song that plays at the very beginning of this movie.
Yes.
And I want to read out part of the lyrics to you. I've never really done this before, but hang on. It's right here. And I think that this is literally the focal point of this movie, particularly in the verse right here, where it says, some of them want to use you, some of them want to get used by you, some of them want to abuse you, and some of them want to be abused. And this is...
I mean, that says like a lot about...
Sweet Dreams Are Made of This by Eurythmics. And I love this song. It's like, it's been one of those like dad hits for such a long time, you know?
Daddy.
Yeah. But this does have a couple of repeat motifs, you know? As in, there's a few different things that are repeated throughout every single story.
Yes.
There's a few separate lines that are repeated throughout every single story. They say, "Isn't that wonderful?" They say, "I had a dream," and then they show the dream and it's in black and white. And there's one more. Emma Stone has it. And what is it? Do you remember any of the other ones?
No, actually the ones that you pointed out, like that's what I remember the most.
Yeah.
But I just remember a certain part. Well, of course, like there's every single story has like the one character, which is usually either Jesse Plemons' character or Emma Stone's character. But in the second part, it happened to both of them, where they feels like they break character, or like whatever like they were in like the story.
They all feel like they're playing a part up until whatever's happening is going wrong for them.
Yes.
And that's whenever they dive into this own idea of humanity's kind of willingness to do whatever they can in pursuit of their own benefit.
Yes.
I do think the title is supposed to be ironic. It is not about kindness. It's
not
about,
at all.
Yeah, it's about the opposite, really. Yes. And the lengths you're willing to go to be mean.
I guess, yeah.
This ability... We were talking about how A Quiet Place has elements of empathy. This is apathetic. It's like really sort of solidified that these characters only care about themselves to an extent, and how far they're willing to go to achieve that, including the third story.
The third story, yeah. Well, because like in the third story, that's when they start having like that cult-esque thing, and so like that's already its own thing. That of course, like following that, it's just not a great thing. So
yeah. No, and I will say this movie has some elements of things that, like, if you can't handle some of the stuff that is in this movie, I mean, I don't want to address it by, like, saying it out loud, but there's some, like, heavy topics in this. Like, fair warning going into it that's true. And this has, like, elements of really dark humor in it as well. Because...
Wait, like, which parts?
Just in terms of... I mean, I laughed a couple of times at some of, like, the mean shit that they would do. Like, there's a moment in the first one where he gets the dead guy and like, or he wants to make him like kill him, so he runs him over.
Yeah, it looks like a gag.
Over and over, yeah. And I was like, that's supposed to be funny.
Yeah.
Like,
there was one scene that happened where I remember like, oh, what the heck?
Was it the 4-way thing that they did, or?
That was shocking, yes. I just didn't expect that. He was just like, can we just go upstairs? He started crying. He's like, Jesse Plemons' character, can we just watch the video? And then it cuts to the video, and it was just like a whole orgy that I was just watching.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the heck? And I remember the lady next to me looking, like, Daniel, look straight. And then she just goes... I'm just like, and me going like, why is she looking at me? Why?
She wanted that. She was like...
It's like, huh? Like...
Closed caption?
Closed caption?
That guy, wait, we just looked up his name. He's great in this. I thought he was one of the, like, low-key kind of standouts.
Let me see.
His first name, I don't want to butcher his name because he's incredible in this. It was like Mamadou Ati or something like that. And I want to ask you, out of all of the... Yeah, I think I said it right. But in terms of the performances, did you have a favorite overall actor, or did you think that, like, did you have a favorite overall performance from each of them?
I would say Willem Dafoe, my favorite overall actor. Just out of the first and third, yeah, for sure. Because the second one, he was barely in it, and
he's just like the dad, kind of.
I was gonna sneeze. No. But I'm trying to think. I'm looking at just like each part. Yeah. Because that's just how I can look at it.
I think the best two for me were Jesse Plemons in the first one and Emma Stone in the third one.
Yeah. Yeah. The second one.
Jesse Plemons again, maybe?
I think it was just both.
Yeah, because did you notice that in the second one?
It was like a transition where it's like it switched.
Yeah, the trade-off was, since the bridge was in the middle, the first half was Jesse Plemons led.
Yes.
And then the second one switches in between the middle, so then the final third is more led by Emma Stone. Yeah. I thought that was brilliant.
Yeah. And I don't know. It was just very unexpected. Yeah. And I don't know, even with the other characters involved, like with the guy, I can't pronounce his name. Mamadou Ati. Yeah. And then the girl, Margaret
Qualley is amazing in this. I do think that, like, she doesn't have a lot to do up until she does. Yes. In the third one in particular. Yes. And the whole thing, because this does have a lot of surreal stuff that happens in it, whenever they find her and she's able to bring people back to life.
Yeah, you're like, whoa, what?
And the fact that they're, like, driving and taking... Although I do want to say this, and it might underscore something in the second one, and I'm actually really only thinking about this now. The through line, the guy that is in each of these stories.
Oh, RMF?
Yeah. Yes. Since he connects everything, and it's implied that he's throughout the entire thing, maybe the second one is reality because all of these characters look like each other and they're all in the same world. Yes. So there's this chance that wasn't her the whole time. Like, have you thought about the fact that all of these people exist simultaneously?
Okay. So you think it's like not like a multiverse type of thing?
Not even. I think that, like, because he was like, that lady that looks a lot like my wife.
Yeah. Is not He goes like, I'm like, what?
Jesse Plemons is incredible in this movie. But do you think that that's possible? Like, I think genuinely that's...
Because, like, okay, remember when they first started for each anthology, it was like RMF dying. Right.
Yeah. And it was just like RMF eats a sandwich.
Yeah. I don't know. I was thinking about that too, and I was like,
RMF? It is RMF, right?
It's RMF. Okay. I keep thinking it's BMF because of like what
bad motherfucker.
Oh, I don't know, but it's because Margaret Qualley said that in the very beginning. It's like, oh, the R looks like a B.
Oh yeah.
And then I don't know why I just keep thinking about that, but I like to think that those titles also have like some type of meaning where it all connects too.
I absolutely do think
because
so.
Because that character is always in each one, and it seems like he's playing the same character.
No, absolutely. He never says anything. Yes. I think that, like, the whole point is that he dies. Yes. And then I can't remember what he's doing in the second one, but he's like, he's somewhere, right?
I'm trying to remember.
And then in the third one, he's brought back to life. Yes. And then the whole thing ends with him just like eating. Yeah. And then it just ends right there. I think that is the same character the entire time. But if we're meant to believe that, then I do think that sort of proves in the second one that there's a chance that that's true. But then we're also told from the very beginning that something is off with Jesse Plemons' character in the first place. And I think this is more about this tendency, because I can tell you what I think the first and the third are about. The second one, I'm a little in the dark on, because I think this movie, this is going to benefit from repeat viewings. This is one of those,
I definitely want to watch this again.
Yeah, no, even talking about this, like right now, I did not think that this movie was by any means slow, by any means like hard to get through. But some of it is very intentionally ambiguous. That it's not that I felt the runtime, but I felt like I was like processing the movie.
Well, because they say a lot of things too. Like they also said a lot of things where it didn't even progress like the story. They just made the characters I don't know, like they just add more value to the characters, right? Yeah. And so they just made it where it's like, whoa, that character is very interesting. Like depending on whatever actor or actress that was like portraying them. And so a lot of it is just left up to like us as the audience to like figure out like what does that mean? Where does that go? Yeah. So
no, there's a bunch of like asides that are, what does that line even mean? Why was, because there's even like actors that are in this that are briefly in this that you're like, okay, you don't just get that actor for no reason. Like I would say that you could read into the Hunter Schafer scene. Yeah. I'm not quite sure what that means yet, but it is something that lends itself to a processed viewing. Yes. Where this movie you talk about with people and they say, I hated it because of this. Yes. I liked it because of this. And then I say, I had a different interpretation than you did. Like whenever we talked about, I saw the TV glow. Oh, but we're obviously on different pages than that one because we both loved this one. Yes. And this one, they call it a triptych fable, which all that means is triptych is like 3. Oh, and fable is always, the sense of
the Fablemans.
I do love that movie, but no, a fable as in there's a moral lesson to be learned here per each of these. What are each of them?
Be kind.
And or be mean as hell. And no, they're all mean in the.
They're all mean.
Since they're all mean, then none of them really get what they want in a sense.
Because at the end, and that's why I believe even like with the second one, he didn't even. I don't think he met his wife at the end. I think it was all in his head.
No, I do think so as well.
Yeah, and it's just man. But in the first one, it ended where he ended up doing the thing that he didn't want to do. He gave up his morals.
He had one adamant thing he wanted to be firm on, but taking everything away from him. The line with Margaret Qualley, whenever she's saying that, she was like, "You are pathetic," and he is. Like there's no denying it. There's that character, he gets like more and more slimy as that story goes on. I agree with you. Like his literal demeanor changes as it goes on, because when it starts, do you feel like the way it lulled you in, because the way he's talking to Willem Dafoe, the way they're so casually talking about some of the stuff that he's like making him do, you're like, that's what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, even with Willem Dafoe's character in the first part, he's just so like suave, and just being able to like say things and do things with him. Yeah, it's just like I can see why Jesse Plemons' character would act the way he acts.
I like the part where he's like, skinny men are ridiculous. And you're like,
but you're, yeah, like you're skinny too.
Yeah. Like, I saw you naked in one of these. Like I didn't know that I ever would, but
and I did.
Yeah, and I don't know.
I mean,
this movie has a lot of images in it.
I would see him again naked.
As the leader of a cult. He was wearing the eyeliner in that one scene. I thought that was interesting.
Which one?
In the third one.
He was?
When you first see him, yeah, he is.
Oh.
With Hong Chow. Yeah. Cults are so weird to me, man.
Yeah, that one was weird. It's just like basically having like holy water in a sense.
How do you... I guess people, in order to be leaders of cults, they have to be charismatic, right?
Yes.
But
you just need one person to believe you, and then it's an endless cycle.
I guess but what did Willem Dafoe do? I guess it's up to your own interpretation, but what about water exactly?
I don't know. I think they probably have like the same meaning where how they put them all in like that sauna and make them sweat so profusely. Oh yeah. And then I guess Hong Chau's character, or Hong Chow, yeah, licks them.
Oh, to test
if like they're contaminated or not. Which I'm like, what?
It's just that's that cult bullshit.
Yeah. It's like, it's like you just decide.
Yeah. I'm like, they just make up whatever. Yeah. Because Joe Alwyn, who I said is Taylor Swift's ex-boyfriend, I don't know how far back, but that guy. But who I'd never seen in anything else.
Wait, who's Joe Alwyn? The husband?
Yeah, the husband.
Oh, I didn't know that.
With the daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in all of them. He's in all 3 of the stories.
Who did he play in the first one?
I gotta be honest, I don't really remember. I kept seeing him.
Okay.
And because the way this works is it's the same like 5 or 6 people per. It's like Willem Dafoe, Hong Chow, Emma Stone, Jesse Plemons, and Joe Alwyn, and I think I'm missing a person. Margaret Qualley, did I say that?
Yeah.
Okay. But just the amount that they're in each of them, and it shifts. But the first one is sort of about losing your morals to whether or not you want to be gratified for something that really you're kind of just being like, I mean, I view it as insulting, but the character obviously doesn't, because he's dictating everything that's going on, because he gave him this life and he took it away. I thought it was funny. Like, the other scene I thought was funny is whenever he tries to recreate that scene where he cuts his hand.
Oh, yes.
And instead he like breaks his foot or something.
Yeah. I was like, that's one way of flirting, or like trying to get another girl's attention. Just breaking your body down.
With that first story, I could not tell if Emma Stone's character was in on it on purpose or on accident. Because
I would say, okay, with Jesse Plemons' character, or just like with Willem Dafoe.
So you know how she becomes like the next like Jesse Plemons' character. I couldn't tell if she was that way on purpose to get Jesse Plemons to do that, or if
to finish like the job in a way
was manipulating it to get him going, to feel like he was replaceable.
I would think that more so. Just because like when he came back, like Margaret Qualley, he came in for a hug and she went with it too. So I think at that moment that's where I believed it. Yeah. Where I'm like, okay, he was just manipulating everybody
the entire time. Including Emma Stone.
Yes.
Who, I mean, I don't really know where she lands in that story. Knowing these characters, they probably like murder her or something. But
something. I mean, she dies. She only dies in the second one. That's it.
Yeah, the third one is just her own fault.
Yeah.
And
I love her dance sequence.
Oh yeah, which was entirely improvised, is what she said.
That's awesome.
To that song, I don't know I thought that was a Charlie XCX song, but I don't know. I thought that the final ending is so this director. Yeah. Like where she gets what she wants, but she gets too
cocky about
it, and it's that like cruel like.
Whenever she goes, "Do you want water? I have water." I just love the cult, like its whole thing is just about like purified water.
Yeah, basically. But that's why I was wondering how they even, not that this movie's not supposed to answer questions like this. Yes. You're supposed to come up with your own interpretation of it, but why water? Like what was the whole thing about that? And I did notice that I figured something was going on with that because they kept carrying it with them everywhere. Yeah. There are like just images in this movie that are placed that are not explained.
Yeah, even with the water too, like I think in the very beginning of the third one, Jesse Plemons goes, "Yeah, we still have like half a gallon of water." Oh yeah. And I was like, why does that matter? Like you can just go to the store and get water or something.
Or that you're not supposed to eat fish.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I can see it though happening.
That you're like, does the fish taint the water, or like what's the?
I think it's just like maybe fish is like also another like pure and like a certain type of species that you're not supposed to like eat.
Yeah. You know how sometimes people say that you're not supposed to eat
pig?
No, not even just pig. Pork? Crawfish and like shrimp.
Why?
Because they're the cockroach of the sea. Have you heard that before? Yes. Sometimes people say that.
I heard that, yeah.
That's what I was like sort of thinking.
But I love eating that.
I do love crawfish boils. Whenever it's like, oh man, a crawfish boil where it's seasoned and it's like the spicy shrimp and sausage and potato and corn.
Did you say sausage?
I did say sausage, yeah. That sounds good, man. Yeah. And you gotta like to get the gloves.
Yeah, anytime I can get sausage in my mouth, I take it.
For Mother's Day,
Mother's Day. Speaking of Mother's Day,
no, we went to one of those crawfish boils, and I got 4 pounds of shrimp and sausage. And
dude, that's awesome.
It was the best. Oh, and potatoes and corn.
Yeah,
one of the best mornings of my life.
I think I'm getting hungry again.
Yeah, go get that after.
Yeah.
So there's a poster of this that I think is great. Not the one that like triggers my tryptophobia. That one's disgusting. There's a post.
Okay, I'm gonna see that one later.
Yeah, I want to show it to you, but every time I look at it, I'm like, no. And then because I have to scroll up so fast.
Yeah.
It's this head but then all of the bodies come out of it, and it starts to look like holes. It's disgusting.
Oh.
But I wish I thought it, like, it looks cool, and then I can look at it for half a second.
Oh, wow.
But the one that they were showing, like, at Alamo this morning, that's a way better poster for me to be looking at, because I mean, their faces look weird.
Yeah.
But it makes more sense now because they're literally two-faced, because you can see the behind. It makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Every character is doing things for
I always
their own
wondered
means.
too, because before the trailer came out, or like when the poster and trailer came out, I was just like, what does this poster even mean?
No, and I literally showed you the thumbnail, and you're like, why does he look like a monkey?
Yeah.
I was like, I didn't.
Well, because like the way it looked, his ears were like out and everything, and I was just like, why
I
does he
didn't
look like a
make
monkey?
it. I didn't make it, I swear. But it makes more sense having seen it. But there's this poster that has a severed finger and a broken racket.
Oh, okay.
And there's one in the middle that I can't quite remember, but it made everything like make sense.
Oh, it must have been the third one, because it sounded like each item or like something that happened. What happened in the third one?
I will say, Willem Dafoe in the third had drip. The scene like where he's wearing the pink jacket.
Oh yeah.
Not the Speedo thing that he was wearing like half the time. But whenever he's like get in the car or whatever he was wearing,
that was intense.
Yeah, because it wasn't even that. I don't really want to address on here because that whole thing that happened is But the third, I will say, if you see this, the third story, if you haven't seen that, I will give you a fair warning about it, that Yorgos Lanthimos does do things in movies sometimes that are really heavy subjects.
Yes.
And
that is true.
I adored this, though. I am sort of not torn on the second story. I just want to figure out what you think it might all mean before we wrap up, because I think that like the first and third, I could tell you. It's the second one that I'm sort of like, that's the one that I think triggers a certain amount of discussion, because you're like, do you think that what happens at the end is reality, or do you think that he's so caught up in his own delusion that, because the only character that has any sort of significant kind of moral like unambiguity that's just a decent person is the one that gets the worst out of everybody in this, and she kills herself for him, quite literally. But the way she's acting too is so kind of off, in the sense that she's willing to do whatever for him.
You're talking about Emma Stone in the second one.
In the second one,
yeah, I don't know, but that makes me think too, where I'm like, how, and I don't know, that's the part too where it's like, if each part felt like it could have been its own movie. And so of course, like, if we just understood more about the characters and like how they were, like their relationship beforehand and all, then you could see like, wow, like, did they both love each other that much? And so when that stuff kind of happens, that's where I'm like, well, maybe it is a duplicate of some sort.
That was the whole thing, right? Is, I mean, enough weird shit happens in this movie that I guess there is an island somewhere that's run by dogs.
What do you think the second one was that could connect to all of it together?
All of them? In terms of being in the same world?
No, just like in terms of its theme.
In terms of
because theme, I can see the first and third one having the same theme. But it's just the second one that I'm having trouble with.
Because everything connects to that song, right? Everything, like, sweet dreams are made of this. And she said that she had a dream about being back on that island, right? But you can't tell if she means that that's the reality, or if that is genuinely what she experienced while she was there. And I think everybody's in pursuit of something. They're in pursuit of the outlandish and the better than the real life. That each one of these, while the first and third are harsher about it, the second one, Emma Stone's character, has this glimpse of hope in terms of that. And I think that she's the one that suffers from the abuse in the second one, while Jesse Plemons is so caught up in something that he made to be idealized that he wants the Emma Stone back that was perfect to him. Or Liz, I mean. Liz. Instead of the one that he got back, the one that can't remember his favorite song, because that's how you know that this character is petty and like not the best, is because she's been gone for months. It's okay if she doesn't remember that. Or if like,
but the fact that she was able to like just give like so much of herself
to him, like quite literally, like she cuts off her fingers, she cuts off. Well, he says that her fingers are revolting, and
I was like, what? Oh man, it's just, I don't know, it's insane. Like, I love how this... I'm interested to see what he does next, because he's doing another movie in, like, a year? Next year or two?
He's currently on the Luca Guadagnino train, where he's, like, making a movie a year, which is totally fine.
Yeah.
I have grown to respect and love him the more and more he comes out with things. And my previous issues with him had always been that I always thought that a half of a movie was always so much stronger than the other half. But this one... And I'll say this, anthologies I'm usually kind of tough on, because I think that there's always one that's so much worse than the other ones, but I don't think that here.
No, I just think that the second one, it doesn't feel less than the other two for me. It just feels like there's something else that's happening in the second one
that requires another something. It requires another viewing,
I don't know what it is, but I think it's just because of the fact that it just feels very focused on two characters in the second one, that I can't see it, where it just seems very normalized. Yeah. Right? And of course it's not till the very end where it just feels up to you as the audience to like figure out what do you think happened. And
I mean, it's totally fine to like have movies like that, because there are so many movies that are made that are, what is this about? It's open to your own interpretation, and I love stuff like that because it leads to conversation. I think it's crazy that like we go to the same gym, and I bring that up because the amount of TV spots I've seen for this movie on like a mainstream channel is ridiculous. I think it's crazy that they're promoting this of all things as like a huge thing for the summer, and the audience scores at like 55% on Rotten Tomatoes. I get it. Yeah, I was looking at the Google score. Yeah, it's at like a 2 out of 5 for audiences. Yeah. And the people that were like loving it, they really loved it. But the people that like hated it, I get it. They were saying that it's like up its own ass and it's confusing and weird and too long. And I wouldn't even fault them for thinking that.
Well, it's because like I do see the part where people say like it's not confusing, but it just maybe just the fact that it just jumps to the next story right away, and so you're just introduced to new characters, and it's a new story right away, and then it just feels like it leaves you open ended. No, like, and then it just again. Boom,
you know
boom,
how
boom.
you were comparing this to Ari Aster's work? Did you ever see Meet the Johnsons?
No.
Okay. A lot of people, whenever they're introduced to that, they're like, "What the fuck is this?" It's this short film that he made where it's kind of tough to explain what it's about, but whenever you see it, it's very provocative. It's about a guy harassing his own father, I believe, and then he like sexually harasses him. It's really uncomfortable and it's really weird, and this movie's basically that short film 3 times. Like, it's that feeling, but when that's over, it's over. You're not in a theater for 2 more of those. So I can see that uncomfortable feeling being generated, and you're just kind of stuck sitting there with it, and then one starts over and you're like, maybe this one will be nicer, and then it just gets meaner than the last one. I think that like they progressively get harsher and harsher endings each time. The second one just has this deliberately kind of confusing one that is left up to you to determine whether or not you thought that ending really happened, or if that's the reality of the situation.
I do wonder if in the first part, if he gets to see his wife again.
And that's the only thing that I was sort of... I'm not going to even call it... But then again,
it's just like, if the wife was to come back, like, she's aware of what happened to where, like, she was forced to get... Not even forced, like, she didn't know she was getting abortion. Yeah. Or, like, you know, she was, like, getting miscarriage... It wasn't miscarriages, but it was, like...
orchestrated miscarriages, yeah. I will say, there are also these, like, really random character quirks that you can read into. Like Emma Stone's character in the third one, she intentionally keeps herself really reserved and a kind person up until she starts like doing shit that the character didn't lead on that she would be doing beforehand, where she like steals a person literally. But I think it's indicated through her actions of how she drives. I kept noticing there was such a specificity on the way she was driving in that third one that I was like, it's too like kind of weird of a detail to not mean something. I think that's supposed to be that character's kind of like rage sort of bottled up because she can't see her daughter or has to sort of maintain this kind of identity because that's what this is about. It's about identity and the pursuit of I don't want to say happiness or even kindness, but it's about the pursuit of your goals.
Yeah. And it sounds like the pursuit of like pleasure.
Yeah.
Type of thing.
And he does a lot of stuff like that, whether or not it's in a positive or negative way. It's about the pursuit of pleasure and human nature.
Yes.
Do you have any flaws?
And their own versions of human nature.
Yeah, no, I don't approve of any of the actions in this movie.
Yeah, it's no.
Yeah. You know how they're always like, directors approve of their characters' actions. Like Martin Scorsese loves Jordan Belfort.
It's like, what?
Don't do anything that anybody does in this.
Do you think there's going to be any Sigma edits in this one?
Of who? Like Willem Dafoe? I could see that,
Dafoe.
yeah. Jesse Plemons, no, he's too much of like a...
He's more like,
he's like, he's pathetic in the first one.
Yeah. And then the third one, he's more like, I know what I want. I want Willem Dafoe.
No, the third one is... This is such a Jesse Plemons fucking thing to do. It reminded me so much of his character in Breaking Bad. When you can tell he doesn't really like Emma Stone's character. So whenever she walks away, he's like waving and he's eating something and he looks so happy. And it reminded me so much of Todd from Breaking Bad when he did that. Because Jesse Plemons can play that kind of character all day. Like, he's incredible at it. I know that he won the Cannes Actor Award for this movie.
What was that? Like
the best actor in Cannes, you know, the film festival.
Oh, okay.
The Golden Lion. I think the movie itself won. I'm not quite sure because this did get mixed reviews. I mean, mixed in the sense that it's at 70% on Rotten Tomatoes. That's not a bad score.
Is it certified?
No.
Okay.
I think it needs to be 75 and up.
Oh, okay.
So this actually has the same Rotten Tomatoes score as like Beau's Afraid, which is funny that we compared these two things. Yeah. I think they share a lot of similarities in terms of their tone and what they're about. But do you have any flaws with this?
I would say, shoot. The only flaw I could think of is where it's just, I guess it sucks because it's not one big story.
Yeah, and the first one I do genuinely think that could have been a whole really long movie.
Yeah, even the third one.
No, and two, yeah.
But the second one feels the first half felt slow.
Yeah.
To me. And it's just because, like, of course, you're just wondering, like, what happened?
Like, who are they even talking about? Who is this character that they keep? And
so, I think the only flaw is just the second one being a little bit less of an impact towards me compared to the other two. Yeah. So, that's, like, the only flaw I could think of.
I am also struggling to come up with a flaw. I would say the nature of anthology, which is that I love the second one. I thought it was amazing. I do think if we're going to compare though, it's probably 1 and then 3's up or lower. It depends on like how you're feeling, I guess. And then the second one's just like pretty much the third best one. Yeah. And that's just like the nature of it because every anthology thing will be that way. I mean, it could have been that the second one would have been straight up bad, and then you're like, I love the first part and the third part, and then the second part's like a trudge to get through. But no, I guess just since it was the nature of how it is, that I probably would have liked a bit more like of a couple of details. But I guess it's left to you to determine that, and that's fine. Yeah. But same thing for me. I guess I'll ask you then. And this movie's incredible. I both recommend it and also hesitantly recommend it.
Wait, can I ask you something?
What?
Do you love it? Do you hate it? Or are you somewhere between?
Thank you. I adored it. I loved it a lot. What about you?
Yeah, I loved it too.
Yeah. Honestly, us talking about it has gotten me like even more.
I wanted to see it again.
Yeah, no,
I'm just like, now I'm like, damn, I kind of want to watch the first part and I want to watch the second part again.
Yeah.
Just to see if I missed anything. Yeah. And then I got to see that. I just love the third part too.
No, this is one of those ones where like you kind of want to sit in some of them. Like, I don't really like when people replay specific parts of movies, but if this came in like a cool Blu-ray that was like, play this part again, play this part again. That would be awesome, but they don't make cool Blu-rays anymore, so I don't know.
They felt like short films, each single one, so I can see
like
that
what they did with French Dispatch, for example, like Wes Anderson, because Yorgos Lanthimos, people have called him the evil Wes Anderson before.
That's so funny.
Because their characters speak
remember
similarly.
That joke where it's like evil version of you?
Oh, whenever it's like evil Matt Damon, we sold the zoo.
No.
It's like on the negative filter.
Evil Ben Affleck. I hate Dunkin' Donuts.
No, evil Ben Affleck would be like, I loved playing Batman.
I love my wife.
I love Jennifer Lopez. We never have any issues at home. What do you think that him and Ice Spice talked about when they worked on the Dunkin' Donuts?
I bet Ice Spice was nice. Ben Affleck was like, I'm
so tired.
I'm so tired. I just want to get my food and go.
You're like, so if I work on here, I was like, I'm not here for the money. Do I get Dunkin' Donuts?
Do I get Dunkin' Donuts or not?
Those pictures of him where he's like carrying all this shit and he's like dropping everything.
Oh, it's so funny. I just saw another thing where it's like Ben Affleck upgraded his shoe game, and it's just like his sneakers.
Well, he actually, I love his shoes because I'm a shoe person. Mm-hmm. He does wear a really nice assortment. Oh, so this is dumb, and you're gonna judge me for saying this.
What?
In the first story, when they're getting all of the auction items,
yes,
that is a pair of Chicago Off-Whites. That is not a pair of Chicago Jordan 1s from 1985. It took me out of the movie for a second.
Damn, me going, damn, those are.
No, whenever I said that, I was like, that's a pair of Off-Whites. Those came out in, I want to say 2019. That's by Virgil Abloh. Rest in peace. But those are not the pair that he wore in 85.
I didn't know I triggered something.
Just for 1 second, I was like, if Willem Dafoe...
You had that whole complete thought for a second.
I'm telling you, I was like, that's not even a flaw, because they probably couldn't get the actual shoe from back then, because it falls apart now when you take it. So I just wish they would have fixed the tailoring on the check mark, but it's okay. It's maybe I'm even wrong, and they found an old pair that he actually did, but that deconstruction process is something that he does for the Off-White shoe, but that's me just...
All right, enough about shoes.
I adored this movie. I really want to... I can't commit to a perfect score simply because I need to see it again.
Yes.
But with the caveat that at the end of the year, if I do think that when we make our best of the year list, I'll change my score because there's a chance. And
there's a chance.
For now, I'm going to give it a really, really, really high 4.5 out of 5. Like, just think of it
I'm also going to do 4.5.
Oh, yeah. What's your score?
Yeah. Damn, you were into it, huh?
Are you? Yeah. Are you close to 5-star on it, too?
Me too. I just need to watch it again.
It's one of those things where...
Yeah. It's because there's 3 different things that were happening.
Yeah.
And so I'm just like, I just need to watch it again and just understand more of, like, the second part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to see how everything connects, and
that's true. I would love to see that.
I do want to ask, like, if you had any thoughts on this movie that were separate than ours. Did you love it? Did you hate it? We don't know. What did you think?
Or are you somewhere between?
Thank you for saying that. I was trying to get you to.
Oh, well, you didn't give me a hint or anything.
I did. I set it up.
Oh, I mean, I wouldn't have known.
I mean, you did it, so.
Oh, thank you.
I loved it. He loved it. We do highly recommend it. You might hate it, though.
That is also true, yes.
Just to clarify. And it's one of the best movies of the year, I think. But, Erwin, what are they going to do?
They are going to like, comment, and subscribe. And hit that Taco Bell.
Hit the bell button for...
Actually, I don't want to be... I don't want Taco Bell.
No, yeah, you don't like Taco Bell.
Well, yeah.
I like Taco Bell.
I like the nacho fries.
Dude, I don't think I've ever had them.
They're so good. That's the one, like, one of those foods where, like, you just remember how they taste all the time.
Why? Because it's seasonal? You know how sometimes
no, those aren't seasonal anymore.
They're not?
No, you can get them anytime, but I just remember the taste of it.
I bet there's like a seasoning. Does it taste like tacos or something?
I don't know, something. I don't know.
All right, everyone. Up next, we are super excited. We're going to have, you're not going to believe this, a TV show review.
Finally.
For The Bear Season 3. Are you excited to talk about it?
Yes,
I'm very excited to talk about it. This season, we'll talk about it. And
yes. Because you've seen majority of it.
I finished it.
Okay, you finished it. I haven't seen it yet.
So I don't want to say anything. But
are we also going to do Demon Slayer?
When does it end?
I think next week or a week after. So.
Okay, we'll do it.
Yeah.
And we'll also review Maxine.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, we have a whole lot to cover. It's a very busy summer.
Yes.
So make sure you subscribe to keep up with us. Thank you, everyone, so much for listening and watching. We'll see you next time.